The puppet's smile. Michael Carter had never believed in curses, haunted objects, or the supernatural. As a traveling ventriloquist performing at local fairs and birthday parties, he made a modest living by entertaining crowds with his charming wooden puppet, Charlie, carved with exaggerated features, a wide grin, rosy cheeks, and large glassy blue eyes. Charlie was both whimsical and slightly unsettling, just the way the kids liked it. Michael had inherited Charlie from his grandfather, a ventriloquist from the 1940s, who passed it down after his mysterious death. He loved that thing, his mother had said. He talked to it even when he wasn't performing. At first, Michael had found that odd, but over time he too found comfort in the puppet's familiar grin and smooth wooden face. He learned to throw his voice so well that people swore Charlie was alive. Sometimes even Michael felt like the puppet was reacting to him, its painted-on smile seeming to stretch a bit wider when the audience laughed. But things started to change after a show in a small town called Hallows Creek. It was late. Rain poured down like nails on the roof of the old theatre where Michael had performed. The power flickered once, twice, and then went out completely just as the final applause echoed. The audience shuffled out, laughing and joking, unaware of the storm growing outside. Michael stayed behind to pack up. He placed Charlie in his custom black trunk lined with velvet. Just as he was about to shut it, Charlie's head tilted slightly. Not a lot, barely an inch. But it moved. Michael froze. His fingers hovered over the lid. "Loose joint," he muttered, trying to laugh it off. But Charlie's head had been secure. He was sure of it. Shrugging it off, he locked the trunk and carried it to the car. That night at the motel, Michael set the trunk in the corner of the room and turned on the TV. The rain pounded harder. Thunder rolled like distant drums. As he brushed his teeth in the bathroom, the muffled sound of static buzzed from the television. He walked back into the room. The TV screen was on, but the channel was nothing but grey fuzz and white noise. He picked up the remote to change it, but paused. Charlie was sitting on the bed. The trunk was closed, still locked. Michael's blood ran cold. His heart pounded in his ears. He walked slowly toward the puppet, reaching out a trembling hand. Charlie stared at him, the smile on its face almost smug. "I didn't leave you out," he whispered. His voice sounded like someone else's. He picked Charlie up. The puppet felt heavier than usual. He brought him back to the trunk, opened it, and placed him inside. Click. He locked it. "Just a trick of the light," he told himself. "Maybe I left it open without realizing." But he didn't sleep well that night. Over the next week, strange things began happening. He would wake to find Charlie sitting in different parts of the motel room, on a chair, on the floor, once even perched on the nightstand facing him. The trunk remained locked. No signs of tampering. He tried keeping Charlie in the car, but the next morning he would be back in the motel room. One night, Michael set up a camera. He pointed it directly at the trunk and went to sleep. The next morning, the camera was broken. The lens cracked. Charlie was sitting on the bed again, his grin wider than ever. Michael began hearing things, whispered voices when the room was quiet, the sounds of tiny feet tapping on the hardwood floor, soft laughter when the lights went out. Then the dreams began. In them, he stood on a stage, the spotlight blinding, the crowd completely silent. He held Charlie in his arms, but the puppet was speaking without him, telling secrets, dark things. "They all laugh at you, Michael. Without me, you're nothing. You're just a vessel. I'm the star." He would wake up sweating, heart racing, throat dry. The puppet's voice still echoing in his mind. Michael decided to visit an antique doll expert in a nearby city. He wanted answers. The woman, an elderly curator named Mrs. Rourke, examined Charlie carefully. Her face turned pale as she inspected the joints, the carvings, the base of the neck. "Where did you get this?" she asked. "My grandfather," Michael replied. Why, she set the puppet down and stepped back. "This puppet is carved from a single piece of black alder wood. Rare. It's also coated in a finish that hasn't been used since the 1930s. There are symbols inside the mouth, etchings I can barely make out." Michael leaned in. They were faint, almost invisible. But there, inside the puppet's mouth, tiny symbols swirled around the hinge. This puppet was made by an occult craftsman, she said. There were rumors during the war, ventriloquists using puppets to channel spirits, possessions. I've never seen one in person. Michael's blood chilled. So you're saying it's haunted? Mrs. Rourke nodded. Possibly worse. You need to destroy it. Michael didn't wait. He drove out to a remote clearing just outside of town, dug a hole and lit a fire. He hesitated only for a moment before throwing Charlie into the flames. The wood crackled, the fire hissed. Then the screaming started. Not his own. Not a human scream. High-pitched, inhuman, furious. The puppet thrashed in the flames, its body twisting, eyes glowing faintly. Michael stepped back, horrified. After what felt like hours, the fire died down. Nothing remained but ash and scorched earth. He returned to the motel, heart lighter. For the first time in weeks, he slept without dreams. 2 nights later, there was a knock at the door. 3 a.m. Michael stumbled out of bed, still half asleep. He opened the door and found nothing but darkness, except for one thing. A black velvet trunk, identical to his own. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside sat Charlie. Pristine, smiling, waiting. Michael tried everything, drowning, burning, burying, even chaining the trunk and tossing it in a river. But Charlie always came back, and each time the puppet changed, just a little. A wider grin, darker eyes, sharper fingers, and the whispers grew louder. Michael stopped performing. He moved into a small cabin deep in the woods, far from people. He thought isolation would protect others. But Charlie still followed. One night, Michael recorded himself sleeping, again. The next morning, he watched the footage. At 2:13 a.m., the trunk in the corner opened slowly. Charlie climbed out. He walked. Not like a toy, not like a puppet, but like a man. He stood at the foot of Michael's bed, watching. For 4 hours. He never moved. And at 6 a.m., just before sunrise, he walked back to the trunk and climbed inside. Michael smashed the laptop, but the damage was done. The next morning, he found a note pinned to his door. "You're not the master anymore, Michael. You never were." The last journal entry anyone ever found from Michael Carter read, "Charlie watches me now. I don't eat, I don't sleep. He performs for no one, but always smiles. I hear him talking when I'm alone. I think, soon, he'll take over." They found the cabin empty. No sign of Michael, but on the dusty old stage inside, a puppet sat in a wooden chair, smiling, waiting. And sometimes, just sometimes, people swear they see it blink.